We have some fun places. We have someone coming in from New York, Chevy Chase, Maryland, Nebraska, Pennsylvania, just north of Philly, Florida, California, another person from Pennsylvania, Oregon, Minnesota. This is really testing my knowledge of state abbreviations. New Jersey, California, North Carolina, another New Jersey, Ohio, another New York, Falls Church, Florida, Missouri, Williamsburg. Hello. Oh my gosh, you guys are moving faster than I can read. Welcome. We're so happy to have you all here. All right, and we're going to just wait about one more minute as folks get in and get settled. I hope you all have your fizzy or bubbly beverage ready for tonight's festivities. Okay, all right, so we're going to get started with our program tonight. Hello, welcome to the National Museum of Women in the Arts virtual reopening celebration, part 2. I'm Gabby Awuma, the Senior Membership Manager at NMWA, and I'm so glad you can be here to join us virtually to celebrate our museum. We've been open for a little over, or a bit over a month. It's been really exciting. We've welcomed so many visitors. We've received great feedback from all of our guests, and so we're just really happy that we're open and that we can celebrate both in person and online. We have a great program ready for all of you tonight. We have some really amazing speakers that are joining us and telling you more about the new museum and some of our offerings that we have that weren't possible before the renovation. I know that a few of you, or many of you actually, were here at the November program, which featured our director, Susan Fisher-Sterling, and our deputy director, Katie Watt. That one, if you missed it, will eventually be captioned and uploaded to YouTube in the coming weeks, same as this one. So you'll be able to rewatch it, share with friends, and see what happened the last time and this time. But if you did miss last program, I definitely encourage you to check out this lovely video that was made from the grand reopening, the public celebration, and really, really nice and well done. We had some great video footage taken of the ribbon cutting, and it's overlaid with a poem that was specially commissioned for the museum and inspired by our mission. And it was written and recited by Alexa Patrick, who I don't believe she's local, but she's close by as a poet. But everyone, you'll see the link to that in the chat. I will, don't watch it now because we have things to do, but after the program, definitely watch it. It's really beautiful and really powerful, and it'll give you a really great sense of what happened at the public reopening, and give you a little taste of what all there is to see in the new museum. All right, so shifting gears, not too much, but first, I would like to thank all of you once again thank you for being here, and then also specifically thank you to our dedicated members and donors. We're so grateful that you stuck with us during the closure and renovation. Your support is so important. We would not have our new museum without you. All this great work that we do wouldn't be possible without you. We are so appreciative of your commitment to NMWA, and thank you. It's really important. So we're so thrilled to have you all here. All right. And so now we're going to start shifting to the more fun part. And as I mentioned previously, and if you read your invitation, we asked that you to bring something bubbly or fizzy because we're going to do a little toast to the new NMWA. So if you could raise your glasses. My fellow panelists, raise your glasses. All right, and so cheers to the new NMWA, to our dedicated members and donors, and to our vibrant future. Thank you so much for being a part of our story. Cheers. All right, So now it's the fun part, or the part you guys actually came here to see. We are going to dive into our presentations. We have three amazing leaders from NMWA joining us today. We have Deborah Gaston, Director of Education Interpretation, Elizabeth Ajunwa, Director of the Library and Research Center, and Laura Hoffman, Director of Digital Engagement. We are so happy to have them, and we are thrilled to see, I'm personally thrilled to hear what they have to say. And so first up, we have Deborah.
Let me get my screen sharing going. Well, thank you, Gabby, and thanks to all of you for joining us this evening. I'm really excited to share some of what my department has been doing since reopening, and also highlight a few of the things that we've got planned going forward. And in particular, show you some of the new spaces that are helping us do things refresh and differently. So I'm going to start with what is, for my department, the obvious change after renovation, which is that on the fourth floor, as part of the Gloria and Dan Logan Learning Commons, we have, you can see my cursor over here, this area is the new Susan Swartz studio. And a lot of museums have studios and classroom spaces, but this is NMWA's first dedicated studio classroom space. And so we are all set to take full advantage of finally having a space like this at our disposal, and really using it to build up some new programming and finally be able to, I don't know, offer things that we've done haphazardly in the past. We can now do with some sort of consistency, and people can actually plan for them and learn to sort of anticipate some of the programming we have coming down the pipeline. And you'll see on the right-hand side of the images here that I've particularly highlighted the sinks. This is one of the, probably our favorite part of the whole space, because we have been working in spaces that did not really have adequate water in a close location to what we were trying to do. So this actually is a total game changer. And I wanted to just show you why this is so important. This new space really devoted to art making and learning that the education department will use, but also public programs, the library, other departments to sort of reach the public in different ways. Prior to renovation, we mostly did programming in the Kasser boardroom on the mezzanine, for those of you that are familiar with the old layout. And it was a carpeted space, so really great for art materials. And it had the benefit, though, of a small catering kitchen, which had a tiny sink. So at least there was some water in proximity if we needed to use wet materials. But it was obviously really crowded. And every bit of furniture that you see there, and every piece of equipment, and every single art supply had to be brought from somewhere else in the museum to that space and then taken back again to its home. So just the setup and breakdown of these kinds of programs was incredibly time consuming and required a lot of effort on a lot of people's part. But as I said, it worked, we made it work, but we really had to limit capacity for programs significantly. Theoretically, these are images from our Summer Teacher Institute, and we technically opened it up to 25 people. But we're always incredibly relieved when, we always had a few drop-offs right before we started, and getting us down to like 20, 21, that was a much more viable number in that space. And the new studio will give us a lot more flexibility for different sizes of audiences. But even less useful, I guess, than the Kasser room, we also would set up tables on the stage of the performance hall. It worked okay for kids because they're tiny, not great for adults. The lighting was, well, it was stage lighting, so you can imagine how that worked or didn't work for art making. And again, even more crowded than the Kasser room. And the closest water for, say, watercolors was the water fountain out in the lobby, which required climbing up and down staircases to get to. So when I say that this space is a game changer, I really am not kidding. And so we have the Susan Swartz studio, and I really do want to say an absolute thank you to the artist Susan Swartz, who really, her generosity in supporting the creation of this space in the new renovated museum is really profoundly a profound gift, both for us and those that work there, but also for our visitors. And I feel like as an artist, she really clearly understands the importance of art in people's lives, sort of at all ages. And so we're setting out to sort of reach those audiences in the best way that we can. Now, what you see here are some images from our very first sort of real use of the space with the public, which was our reopening celebration on October 21st. And we had a couple of different art making activities, including button making, going on in this space, and people dropped in all day long and stayed for as long as they wanted and created as much, with as much detail or as quickly as they wanted, which is really one of the things we're hoping to do more in the space, having people have drop-in opportunities to engage with art making materials and art projects in that way. And it's another way to explore the museum and engage with the collection and the exhibitions. So we were really excited to sort of kick it off this way. And I will say the image on the left in this slide was actually one that was texted to me by our senior educator, Addie Gayoso, the morning of reopening. And she just labeled it, "This makes me so happy." And I think that really encapsulates how we're all feeling about the space, and then most importantly, seeing it being used and used with a lot of energy and excitement. So our next sort of next sort of studio-based program, where it was a key factor, was we did a teacher or an educator open house in November. We've continued to work with schools and teachers during the sort of 3+ years of COVID and renovation virtually. But it was wonderful to welcome so many of our longtime teaching partners, as well as entirely new teachers who'd been completely unfamiliar with the museum, to this program. We offered things all day long. There were drop-in art making, much like we did for the opening day. We offered some short gallery talks throughout the day. They could take advantage of trying out one of our themed tours that we use for students and adults. They also, we had a collaborative poem activity they could try. And on the right image just shows you we had them making their own versions of artwork using colored masking tape. You would be surprised at how many colors of masking tape you can buy these days. And they got information about the artist Alma Thomas, who we felt was the perfect focus for this teacher open house, because we have 2 wonderful works by her in the collection, both of which are on view. And also, she was such a dedicated educator herself, teaching in DC public schools for 35 years during her life. And so she seemed like the ideal person to sort of focus on. And you can see we got some wonderful feedback. The teachers were so excited, thrilled to be, able to sort of begin to use us as a resource again in person. And we shared information about all the resources and sort of plans we have for professional development, school partnerships, and things going forward. So we're looking forward to developing and extending those relationships. A brand new program that we have been able to institute is Open Studio. And essentially, this is that free self-directed drop-in art making activity that is inspired in some way by the artworks on view in collection or exhibitions. And we were actually using the same Alma Thomas type activity. It was our way to sort of test it out, frankly, before the teacher open house, but it works great for a general audience as well, and really introduce them to this amazing artist. We have people all in and out all day. We hold these on the free community days. So that's the first Sunday and the second Wednesday, and they're from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. So most of the opening time for the museum on those days. And you can just drop in, pick up some materials. We have my colleague, Micah Koppel, is the education assistant, and they're the one who is actually spearheading and kind of, organizing these programs. And they're shown there on the left, along with one of our really great volunteers. And, drop in and again, stay as long, create, experiment, develop your own creativity to the degree that you want. And it's open for all ages. We do ask it for ages 12 and under that there is an adult that stays with them. But that is the only real limitation. Now, firsthand experience workshops are actually, they're a program that we did before we shut down. And it brings contemporary artists together with learners, usually ages 13 and up, so it's sort of multi-generational. And it's a hands-on program that combines art making and gallery conversations and discovery. And we had held them periodically in the past, but really inconsistently. And starting on December 9th, we're kicking off a regular series of these programs. We're starting out with decorative papers with Adjoa Burrows. You see a detail of the artist's book that is actually in the Holding Ground exhibition that's also on the 4th floor as part of the Learning Commons in the new galleries. And she is going to lead a session, a firsthand experience workshop that focuses on various kinds of decorated textured papers. So persons will work with watercolor, salt, plastic wrap. They'll also do paste paper using tempera paint and experiment with coffee staining as well. And all the papers that participants create, go home with them. They can be used for bookmaking, collage, or any other thing that they invent to use them for. So it's really a wonderful opportunity to kind of get your hands a little messy and try out some really wonderful techniques. There is no experience required, and we provide all the materials. So you can really come and try it out. And after that, this will kick us off in December. And then from that point, we will be offering these every other month on the second Saturdays from 10 to 3. And so our next two will feature Robin Ha, who will lead the people in creating comic book inspired art based on personal recipes. And Robin's actually an award-winning author and illustrator of the graphic novel and memoir Almost American Girl, among other publications. And that particular book reflects her experience coming to the US from South Korea at the age of 14 and kind of trying to sort of fit in and figure things out in this sort of new world. And we worked with her virtually before, and she was phenomenal. And so we're really excited to sort of get to bring her, into a public environment in person to work with our visitors. Our next one would be in April on the 13th, and that's with Jamila Zara Felton doing radiant textures. And so she's going to actually focus on making abstract monotypes and then creating a long stitch journal using a stitched spine. And we worked with her virtually as well. So she's a ball of energy and so wonderful virtually. I can only imagine how exciting and fun she'll be in person. More looking farther ahead into January, we are launching a once a month sort of survey of women in the arts, but not really a standard one. This is the museum has offered a sort of 8-week survey of women artists from very early in the museum's history, but it was originally conceived of as something for the daytime, and it was held on a Wednesday morning, and it never shifted, which made it really hard for a lot of people to attend. So I took the opportunity of closure to reinvent it, so we're moving it to the 4th Sunday of the month, and that will be from 2 to 3:30. And it will be easier for people who work during the week to attend, and hopefully provide a lot more opportunity for people to participate if they're interested. This is sort of a self-serving plug because I'm the one teaching the class or the courses, and you can take one session or you can take all of them or somewhere in between. They will stand independently, but also build on one another if you're interested in a series. We'll start out with Why Have There Been No Great Women Artists, with the nod to Linda Nochlund's landmark 1971 essay. And so we'll set the stage and understanding sort of a little bit about the social and sort of political systems that really shaped women's experience as artists for centuries. And then we'll move in February to focusing specifically on portraiture and really looking at both the artists and their sitters. And thinking about the ways they were done historically, but also how contemporary artists relate to, disrupt, sort of extend those legacies. So we'll see everything from our 16th century Lavinia Fontana all the way up to the 21st century work by Delita Martin that you see on the right. NMWA Nights is another new and exciting initiative. And this one's actually, I'm sort of discussing it, but it really is a cross-institutional, cross-departmental initiative. We are starting to do late hours on the 3rd Wednesdays of the month. Beginning in 2024, those will be NMWA Nights, and they'll include extended hours, but also with art making, music, cocktails, grab a drink, take a short tour, go make something in the studio. You can really listen to some music. You can have a really lovely evening experiencing the museum and all it has to offer in a really fun and sort of informal environment for you. So we look forward to kicking those off on January 17th. And I have focused a lot on the studio because it made us so excited and because it is such a wonderful addition to sort of the spaces that we have to work with. But my team loves to teach in the galleries as well. And it's been a long time since we've been able to sort of engage the public in person in front of real objects. And so it's been wonderful to begin to do that again. We have reinstituted the series of staff-led gallery talks that we did before closure. They fall on Wednesdays from noon to 12:30. And those are facilitated by staff. My associate educator, Ashley Harris, is the one in the far right of the image showing the gallery space, leading that talk. And these are basically free bite-sized talks, to kind of let you delve more deeply into one or two works in the collection or in the exhibitions and get more depth of understanding about those particular artists and works. We have tours, of course, and we are almost done training our brand new core of docents, and they really are excited about giving tours. So right now we're offering drop-in tours at 2 p.m. on Fridays, but in the new year that will go to every day at 2 p.m. And we'll also have opportunities for you to schedule tours for a private group of you and your friends, say. And also we will be rolling out our school tour program again in the spring and into the summer, ready to go full force by fall for schools. And then if you'd rather self-guide, we still have our See for Yourself cards that we have a new pack at the visitor services desk. When you walk in the door, they're free. And you can use them to help explore and discover more information about key works of art in the collection and the exhibitions. And we also, if you're not able to get to the museum, you can find all of them online. And there's more than, I think there's over 100 at this point on our website. And you can kind of see the link there, but you can search See for Yourself card and find them just fine. And then finally, for those of you who can't get to the museum, or won't get here for quite some time, we are continuing our virtual programs. And these, were obviously begun actually during the pandemic, continued during renovation. And we have enjoyed and really embraced the audiences that have grown up around and within these programs and the learning communities that developed with them. So we'll continue doing art chats at 5, moving to fourth Fridays beginning in January. We'll continue to host our virtual educator summer camp in July, in addition to in-person professional development for educators that month. And of course, virtual field trips have been really wonderful opportunities for us to reach students and teachers outside of the immediate DC area, and those will continue. And we're still experimenting with hybrid programs, but we did do Art Chat Live in early November, which involved a live group of people and me in the galleries, and a camera person sort of taping it all, and we were streaming it through the regular Zoom platform to our virtual Art Chat participants and combining the conversations and questions across the two environments. And so we're continuing to sort of experiment and see where that might be a viable option as well. So speaking on behalf of myself and my department, we are looking forward to seeing you at the museum and online at upcoming programs. And I really encourage you to join us in whichever way and however often you can. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Deborah. That was such a great presentation. I'm very excited about all of the programming, and do I need to rearrange my schedule on Saturday to try to join the firsthand experience? All right, well, thank you again for the great presentation. If you have questions for Deborah, feel free to put them in the Q&A. We'll have a Q&A session at the end of today's, end of all 3 presentations. But up next, we have Elizabeth Ajunwa, our Director of the Library and Research Center. Take it away.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Let me get set up here. Okay, so I hope everyone can see my screen. But hi, again, my name is Elizabeth Ajunwa, and I am the Library Director of the Betty Boyd Dietrich Library and Research Center. And I love that I'm going after Deborah because the work that the education department does is very much an inspiration to what I'm hoping to eventually come to with the library and research center and just shows the possibilities of what can be done with the library. So my presentation won't be as expansive as the education team, but I hope you enjoy it. The presentation is titled "The Library is Open." So for you RuPaul's Drag Race fans, you might know what that is referencing. Introducing the NMWA's Betty Boyd Dietrich Library and Research Center. So I want to start off this presentation with a question for everyone. You can say it in the chat or not. But if you know about the museum, I want to ask you, do you remember what the old library looked like? You can answer that or not, but I would like to kind of set the scene for you. Oh, I see people in the chat saying they do, they don't. Okay. Uh, Before the renovation, the library was as it is now on the 4th floor, but it was just kind of on an island by itself with some office space. And sometimes people didn't know they could go into the library. Oh, I see in the chat some people have been saying they didn't even know there was a library. Um, and uh, and so now there's been some changes, but I just want to kind of give you all a little sneak peek on what the library. Oh, someone said what library? What this little sneak peek onto what the library um, used to look like. So here is an image of what the library looked like before. I love this kind of eerie photo of the library. A little, a little dated, a little older. Lots of space, books on the shelves. We love to see that, but um, maybe not, what we want to see now in 2023. Um, but yeah, this was the library space of old. And now there's been some changes. Um, just want to give you another image here. Take a look at what it used to look like. And as you can see, the photos actually there, the first photo was from very early on, 1987, when the museum, close to when the museum first opened. And this photo is a little more recent. And now you can see the next question, what does library look like now? This is actually what the library looks like now. There's been some adjustments, there's been some changes. Deborah talked a little bit about the 4th floor and the 4th floor commons. There's the studio, but there's also this new and improved library space. In the library space, it fits the over 11,000 monographs that we have, which are books, the physical books that you see in the shelves there. There's been these new and improved shelving that's been created to make it easier for people to browse and search and just maneuver in the space, as well as you see these casings, and these casings have where we can put displays and archival material and future things that we want to display that the library wants to feature. So that's what you see there. And this next photo also shows another view of the library, which I love. One thing that the previous library staff who was planning this new look, they wanted to make sure that there was comfy chairs, because our hope is that you come in and study and feel comfortable to stay there all day if you want. Relax, browse, take a look at what we have to offer. Something about the LRC is that the LRC has over the LRC is what we lovingly call the library, and has over 25,000, if not more, materials in our collection. So we have almost, what you saw there in those photos is almost over 11,000 books that we have on the shelves, maybe even a little bit more. in our archival collections, which is not featured here, but is in the back. And one great thing about this renovation, it allowed for more room to be able to house some of our really great archival collections and our really great artist book collection. And that now we can house over 17,000 artist files easily in our archival rooms. We can house over 800 unique and rare artist books, as well as rare artifacts and artist books that we have in our collection. And now we can easily maintain and preserve our really amazing archival collections, which include materials such as Judy Chicago's visual archive, includes papers, personal papers and letters that were written by Frida Kahlo, and drawings and archival records from artists such as Eula B. Dix and Doris Lee. So this new space is just really exciting to me and my team to be able to have a place where we know we can really preserve and save the materials that we're being stewards of. Yeah, so well, I want to kind of switch gears and tell you a little bit about who you will actually meet in the library. So first up is me. I am the director of the Library and Research Center, and I wanted to show this picture, not because I wanted to show you my bare arms, but I chose this photo because earlier this year, I got the opportunity to go to Mexico City, and I was able to go to Frida Kahlo's home, and this is a photo of me at her home in one of the rooms that is shows all of the wonderful things that she had in her home. So I thought I'd share that with you all. Then you would see Danny Brogdon. She is our reference and technical services librarian. And this image here is of her when we were getting the library set up, and we're excited to finally get books on the shelves. So that's Danny. And if you were to come in the library, more than likely is the person who would be assisting you with any of your reference and research questions. We also have our digital researcher, Kate Sino Bradshaw. She works remotely, but you may see her in the library at some point. She is the person, if you reach out to us via email, who will likely be fielding your questions and research questions and setting you up with maybe visits to the library. And then next to another photo here, you see Danny on my right, and on the left of my screen is Dominique Manuel. She's our digital asset manager, and she's the person who's tasked with making sure that our digital assets are up to date, and the photos that you see on our website and in any publications are ready to go for anyone who's requesting them. And yeah, so that's our team, and hopefully you'll see us there, and we're the ones who would help you if you were ever coming for any research questions or anything like that. And yeah, so the next question here is, what can you do in the library? The library is open Tuesday through Friday, 10 to 4:30. It is open to the public, so it is free and open to the public if you're just coming to come to the library. So if you want to just study, if you want to just browse the library, you are able to come to our visitor services desk and let them know that you are here for the library, and they will get you squared away to come and visit us. You are able to browse books. You're not able to check them out, unfortunately, but you are more than welcome to look at any materials, as well as if there's something particular that you want to save with you, or take home with you, like taking photos of something you see, or on a case-by-case basis, our staff can scan materials for you and assist you with any more detailed research needs. Also, we have special research appointments that visitors can come and schedule with us. You can email us or look on our website for more details on how to schedule an appointment. But I wanted to highlight this photo here because this researcher, her name is Steina, she was coming into the US after doing she was here doing a research trip from Germany, and she came to see specifically some archival collections that we have on the UN Convention of Women Artists. And she was so much enjoyed her experience and just wanted to share with everyone how she had really had a great experience seeing the materials and getting to see materials that she hadn't been able to see even in uh, different institutions that she had visited both in Europe and in the United States. So I that's what, if you're interested in, you could also do. We've also had a few other researchers now. We had a researcher recently from the UK, and she came in specifically to see Anita Steckel's archive and was able to see some of the really oversized drawings and materials that she has created and that we have in our collection. That I think is amazing that we have in our collection. Um, and and yeah, so if you're ever interested in visiting our library and having a more in-depth research visit, you're able to schedule that and do that. Um, and finally, just to kind of highlight some of the things that might happen in the library. And again, I'm mentioning Deborah because it's such a what the education team is such an inspiration. Is hopefully we'll be doing not only um, library exhibitions like what's currently on view. And I do want to say a little bit about the change with the library. The library, you might notice in the photos that I featured, it's a little smaller. The reading room is a little smaller, but what we wanted was, one, we wanted space to be able to make sure, again, to preserve the archival collections that we have. And we wanted to make it more accessible, make it more cozy, make it more a place that people want to come into and use and utilize. And over the past few weeks of being reopened, we're seeing that I can uh, the photo I showed of where you can browse and study. This was just taken yesterday. I just took this yesterday. And this is great. This is what we want to see in the library and research center. We want to make sure that people know that it's accessible and you can use it and expand on your knowledge of women artists. So yeah, so finally, now because the library has been made smaller, we actually have the great opportunity to sometimes utilize an exhibition space that's right next to the library doors. And currently, what's being featured is the Holding Ground exhibition of artist books that were commissioned specifically for the museum. This is an image of Adjua Burroughs' beautiful work. And we're hoping that we will do more exhibitions of artist books and other ephemera and archival collections, as well as really activating that library reading room to have workshops and author talks and zine workshops and other things. And of course, in collaboration with our other departments, such as the education team and our digital team and our public programs team. So I will leave it there just to give you a sneak peek of what's to come for the library. I hope this was informative and interesting to you, and I hope that you are eager and interested to come and visit us in the Library and Research Center. Um, yeah, this is my information. If you want to ever reach out to the library, please reach out to lrc@nmwa.org. And thank you so much.
Awesome, wonderful. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. I will just warn you now that you have some questions in the chat, and so we'll be saving those for the Q&A. But yeah, thank you so much. The library looks amazing. You all have done really great job. We're also on the membership and development side exploring doing some programs specifically for members. So please be on the lookout for some fun collaborations in the future with Elizabeth and her team. All right, and next up, we have our Director of Digital Engagement, Laura Hoffman.
Hello. All right. Elizabeth, I think you just need to stop sharing your screen. Perfect. Thank you. And I will go into mine. Well, I'm so excited to be here. Rather than show you a slide presentation, given that I am all things digital, I thought I would just show you some great resources. I had the great pleasure of working on the In Focus Artists at Work exhibition, which showcases 8 contemporary artists from our collection through beautiful short form videos. So each film is about 3 minutes long, and it really gives a glimpse into each of the artists' process and their point of view. So we were able to work on this with Smarty Pants Pictures, who's award-winning. They do wonderful work, as well as with art processors to design, as you can see here, this intimate, immersive 3-screen video. So if you're able to come to the museum, I highly recommend. We have 4 on view now, and then in 2024 we're going to switch out and do the other 4. But we also really wanted to showcase these films for everyone. So the single view center screen one is available online on our website here, just through our exhibition page. You can see here, if you scroll down, I'm going to show you the trailer in just a minute. But we have all 8 of these artists here. So let me just show you quickly the trailer. It's just 2 minutes, and I just think it gives such a great overview of this video show that we have.
If I can't draw it, I'll print it. If I can't print it, I'll paint it. If I can't paint it, I'll collage it. Just whatever I need to do to tell the story, because the story is what's most important.
It's important for me that the women I photograph have agency in the process. The women are not passive in the landscape, but they're actually owning it.
My hands are always kind of like have a mind of their own, or experiencing the world on their own. I love the idea of people being able to touch and experience the work.
We're a bunch of feminist activist artists who expose and protest racism, sexism, corruption, and injustice in the art world and beyond.
If I'm not emotionally, physically drained in my work, I don't feel that it's like truly my work. It's meditation in some ways. It resolves a lot of questions for me.
I like the idea that you're looking at just a flat object, and then all of a sudden you open it and this unexpected 3-dimensional form just pops up at you.
No sé si es poético, no sé si es antropológico, si es solamente un testimonio. Yo no pienso en eso cuando estoy fotografiando. Es lo que me sorprende de la vida.
I consider hair a text in and of itself. It is the primordial fiber, and in it is all of the ancestors who have come before us.
Hopefully the sound was okay for that. All right, so moving on here, if you click on any of the links that I have put here, you can see that we actually created for each of these artists a special artist webpage where we give more information about what we learned from the artists in the film, some little extra information. We have each of the individual films on these, and we also showcase all of the artwork that you can currently find from that particular artist up at the museum. And you can learn more about the artists and go back to the exhibition. So I recommend you checking those out if you have some time, as well as seeing them in person. Again, the in-person is the only time you're going to see the 3 screens version that we choreographed with art processors. One other thing we did, in addition to many things, we've been very busy for reopening, is we wanted to also create online guides that would help you as you go through the museum or just as you are online, because we recognize that not everyone who supports us is able to come to the museum. So for the Hung Lu Making History exhibition, this is just the regular exhibition page that we have for every single exhibition. But in the related media section here, you'll see we added in an exhibition guide in addition to the gallery labels and this extra artist spotlight. So this exhibition guide is created with the curators to showcase a guided experience through your phone, through your laptop, that takes you a little bit more in depth than what we can do with a traditional label. So you get some really wonderful archival images of the artists. You'll be able to dive into different image carousels. You'll also be able to do side-by-side comparisons. So I really recommend going through here as well on your own time. And one of the other facets that we have on this exhibition page is this artist spotlight of Hung Lu that we actually created a year ago for Google Arts and Culture. And I'm not sure if you're aware that we've been partnering with Google Arts and Culture for about 10 years now. And as their platform has expanded, we have created lots of different features. We're one of their featured collaborators and partners. So we created these extra stories that go into different artists, or sometimes there'll be a compilation. But we did do this feature on Hung Lu, and we just felt like even though it's not exactly about the exhibition, it's a really nice complement. So if you're curious about all of our offerings on Google Arts and Culture, you can see here we have 9 different stories that I mentioned are wide ranging, from specific artist spotlights to roundups around a specific theme. We also have lots of artworks on here, and we even have, again, when they have new offerings, a pocket gallery is a virtual gallery that you can walk around that's not meant to look like NMWA, it's meant to be its own Google space. So there's really a lot to see on Google. I also wanted to share with you, I'm sure if many of you have been members with us for a long time, are familiar with our 5 Women Artists campaign. This is a campaign that went viral in 2016, and we've been doing it ever since. And it's a way it's based off a simple question of, can you name 5 women artists? And we never expected it to kind of take root as much as it did. So we have this whole section on the website going into more information, letting you know about different events. Now that it's grown so much popularity, we have different themes each year. So this theme for this 2023 calendar year has been Art Plus, Fine Arts and Beyond. So really seeing the expansive world of the creative arts, including architecture, design. We just felt like with the reopening, it was this big celebration that expands even past just fine arts. And then we are going to be doing in 2024, which will be updated soon, is we're going to be having the theme on accessibility and disability awareness. So we're really excited to have these different themes, but throughout the year, we really encourage, if ever you want to use the challenge to your friends, or if you're at local museums, use the hashtag 5WomenArtists. We do a compilation here you can see of different social posts that catch your eye. So I highly recommend that. And speaking of social media, I think you all know and probably follow us on Facebook, on Twitter/X, as well as Instagram, but we are very newly on TikTok. So we would love the support and love. So come follow us and see them. Our social media manager has come up with some really fun videos on there. And we're also on Threads, which is kind of on Instagram, but more text-based. So we recommend, again, our social media manager does different content for different platforms, so we would love to see you on there. Another signature event that I wanted to make sure to mention to mark your calendars is for International Women's Day. It's always on March 8th. So again, this page is going to be updated very soon with all of the events, and some of them are going to be in person now, but also some of them are going to be virtual. So anyone will hopefully be able to attend on that day. And if you want to find things like International Women's Day, I wanted to make sure you all knew to go to the What's On section of our website. That's where you can find our calendar. And we have so much here that if ever you are curious and you want to see, oh, what member information, what virtual ones, you can click on any of these and you can see here, let's see, a good one is, oh, I know Deborah mentioned art chats, which are very popular If you scroll down here and you say, oh, I want to see what other virtual events we have, you just click on that tag and it'll show you all of the upcoming virtual events. We also have a member specific filter again, so you click on here and you can see it says members. And if you scroll down to the bottom here where it says members, you can see all of the upcoming events we have specifically for members, but you are welcome to, of course, come to any and all programs that we have. So I think that was everything. I just wanted to give you a really quick overview, but I'm happy to answer any other questions that you might have about our digital offerings, because this just barely touched the surface.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Laura. That was very informative, and I definitely want to spend much more time on the Hunglu pages. So interesting. All right, and now we have our other panelists back. Thank you for joining us and turning your cameras back on. And so before we conclude, we'd like to do a brief Q&A. You can use the chat feature, but the Q&A feature is much more effective. So if you have questions for our lovely panelists, please feel free to start dropping them in. And I'm going to kick this off with a question specifically for Elizabeth. Paula asks, will you still have artist books on display, some open in display cases? And then also, how does one get access to see your artist books?
Yeah, so in the cases that I showed, those have artist books already in them. We're working on making sure to get the proper labels up so people know who the artists are. But those are going to be on display, and we'll rotate out and try to make it interesting because there's so many collections that we have. My hope is that we also, again, I'm going to mention Deborah because I'm trying to get on your level to do kind of like drop-in sessions and demos of the artist books that we have. So that would be a way that you could see them. Also, please come and see Holding Ground. The books that are featured are fantastic. They really are beautiful works of art. And if you are wanting to do specific research to see a specific artist book, you can also set up a research appointment and we can pull some artist books for you to see one-on-one.
Great, thank you for that question. And then here is one that just popped in, asks if the food court or the cafe is open yet. Unfortunately, it's not. We're hoping that the cafe will be open by, I believe, April for the Women to Watch exhibition. So stay tuned. We will definitely send updates as they come along. And then the next question is, how can women artists pursue possible collaborations with you? Does anyone want to answer that? I know that might be more of a public programs and curatorial question, but I feel like we have other rooms of collaboration and involvement that can go through Deborah in education, or Laura digitally, or Elizabeth in the library.
I would say reach out, send an email, and we can get in touch. I know there's a wide variety of programming that is going to be offered, and Deborah had mentioned NMWA nights. That's definitely an opportunity for artists and other collaborators. So I'm sure others can give more information.
Same thing. Just, you can email education@nmwa.org. And if you're, letting us know kind of what you're interested in doing, that kind of thing, audiences you might like to work with, all of those things really help. And I think, there used to be some sort of form online, but I honestly can't remember if
that's what I was like, I don't know if you could see my typing. It's always very hard to pull up exactly the web page, but if you give me a second, I will, you continue to answer questions.
Great, thank you both. And then there was another question about any plans for CLARA, or CLARA.
I can take that one. So Clara was a database that was wonderful. It was of like a compilation of women artists, both in and outside of our collection. And while wonderful, the database itself got old. Technology gets old. So instead, what we've been really focusing on is getting more artists on our website that are from our collection. So we're working very hard. That's another project that's happening behind the scenes because, as you can imagine, the research behind women artists is ever changing, so we have to keep it current and keep editing and updating. So we're really hoping to finish that phase. I don't want to say finish the project because it's a phase project, so we're hoping to do another big phase this year. So we actually have a wonderful researcher working on it, so stay tuned.
Lovely. Great. And then one quick question from me. Can each of you just share what your favorite part of reopening was? Or, your favorite reopening experience or interaction, like anything that comes to mind.
Well, I loved Alexa Patrick's poem, which you can, I think, see a video of it on the social media. And that's great because I'm hoping that she will come back and do work with us and do a poetry program, and it'll be great. So, so that was one of my favorite parts.
Yeah, it's really hard to narrow down. There were a lot of things. I know one thing that my team and I really loved was that a number of the people that had been part of our Chat at 5 community for so many years now came in person, and we finally got to meet them in person, which was really special. And I think that the other thing was I was thrilled to see how many of the artists either featured in the In Focus videos or in our exhibitions turned up for the events and were part of those days for that and for the public opening as well. It just their excitement was really wonderful, and their willingness to engage with the public just was great.
And I'll just add, we do have more digital technology in the museum. So we do have an interactive touch table kiosk on the 3rd floor, and it was so wonderful to see people using it, things that you work on for months and months and you have no idea if it's just gonna get dusty. And I consistently see people of all different ages using it, which was such a fun collaboration with education to work on. So it's really great to see it come to fruition.
Great, that's awesome and lovely. And we are nearing 7 o'clock. Any last minute questions from our lovely attendees before we wrap things up? All right, okay. Looks like there might not be any more questions, but you, for the most part, have everyone's contact information, so you'll know where to find them. And then just as a reminder going into before we close, wanted to once again share the links Laura shared for the online resources for our exhibitions. We have the link to the main In Focus Artists at Work page, along with the Hung Lu exhibition guide. And then we have some of our upcoming programs. You can find all of these on the What's On calendar page of our website. Registration links are live, I believe, for all of them. I'm not 100% sure about NMWA nights, but you can register for everything else on the website. We hope to see you at any of these events. Some of them are online and some of them are in person. So please, please, please sign up.
I think NMWA Nights is going on sale this week.
Oh, great. Awesome. I was like, I knew it was this week, but I didn't know for sure what day. So be on the lookout for that. There will be more communications about that. And what else do we have going on? Yeah, thank you for joining us. This was such a great program. I learned a lot from Laura, Deborah, and Elizabeth. I hope you all did too. This recording will be shared in the coming weeks, so be on the lookout for that. And again, follow us on Women in the Arts on all the major social media platforms. And here is my contact information. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, I hope it's mostly kind thoughts and nice words. And yeah, thank you all for being here. We really appreciate it. You make NMWA great, and we hope to see you soon, whether it's virtually or in person. Have a wonderful evening or rest of your Monday, wherever you are joining us from. Thank you.